I hadn't come out at that point. It took me a while to understand myself. As most, during that period, it was a great taboo to be openly gay. I remember I was wearing Bermuda shorts once and walking down the street with my parents, and some people from across the street hollered out faggot. If you meant by openly gay with another person that was gay, yes, it was possible. Openly gay, as far as being openly gay in general, impossible. Impossible. There were too many stigmas attached with it. And parents, women, especially mothers, especially felt that they were the ones who caused this huge disease to happen to young men. One of the reasons it took so long for me to come out was I'm an only child, and the only boy in the only family, and everybody expects you to carry on the great tradition of having children. Well, I did for a while have children, but then I had to cope with it, and I looked at myself and I said, this is going to be the rest of my life, Lou. This is what I'm going to have to live with, and, get ready for the Thanksgiving party with Aunt and Christmas with them, and it wasn't because of that kind of thing. It was just the fact that I just felt like I was wasting my life, that I wasn't living a true life, and it still took a while for me to come out. When I finally did, it's becoming a story of me. Just a minute now. You better edit some of it. When I finally did come out, it was I was at that point I was deacon of a church. I was a Boy Scout leader. I was explorer advisor. I took boys on camping trips. We had a wonderful time. I never fooled around with them, but we had wonderful times. And when I did finally, tell my wife that I don't think this is going to work in the long run. The pastor never turned up, never came around to do any kind of counseling or anything like this. And meanwhile, you just pointed out that I had wasted my time because I had spent so much time with the church and doing, all the ringing the bells, collecting money and being an usher and singing in the choir. Nothing happened. So I was kind of, it just kind of fed into me the fact that had I not come out, it would have been even more wasted. It took a while to come out. I remember Gay Pride, the day of the Great Revolution. I was walking down the street with my boyfriend and girlfriend. I decided that, two is better than one. And we came down and we turned on Christopher Street, and right before us, everything was happening. I couldn't believe it. And there's a stoop on Christopher Street right before the bar. And we climbed on the stoop because the street was just too crowded with people doing all kinds of crazy things. They were ripping up the meters on the thing. A bus was trying to get down the street and they were rocking it back and forth. The police couldn't do anything about it because they didn't do anything. They didn't have enough people to do anything about it. It was just like, oh. And then I found out what it was. It was interesting that it was the same weekend as Judy Garland's death up at, she was being laid out up at Campbell, uptown. And I guess, what happened was from what I spoke to a number of the people we interviewed, they felt that, they had lost somebody very important, very special in their lives. And most of the guys who were cross-dressing at the time were being arrested for being cross-dressing. And they decided that this was the end. We were going to stop it. We were going to make a point. The gay and lesbian community was to be a political organization that in order to get our rights as a free people, as the promise of the Declaration of Independence was, that we had to take up the gauntlet of politics. I moved into the realm of television. I felt television was to be our answer because when I started television in 1982, yeah, I thought that our rights were right around the corner because anybody who had a big party had a gay person there, and they were gay designers, gay interior designers, gay dress designers. You named it. We were in any one of the arts and respected for it, respected by the larger community. We were promised life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and those promises have not been kept. People cannot get married freely across the country. They're not accepted. We're still accepted in many places, second-class citizens. I didn't know there was a class of citizenship. I think that went out with the French Revolution, I believe. But the promise is there. They didn't say life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness only for white people, although that's who was there at the time. But they left it open to all people. Thomas Jefferson wrote a great piece. It's inspiring to read. And life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to this day, I think of it and get a little bit of chills thinking about it. That's one of the reasons I got involved in television, was because I felt that through television, we could educate. We could finally educate people in the mass and show them, put a face on who we are. I remember once a person came up to me and said, "You're not gay." I said, "Why?" He says, "You don't look gay." But I've had many people. I remember once in Woodstock, I had one young kid come up to me and he said, "You saved my life by being on television, by showing him that, he wasn't alone up there in Woodstock, that there were other people that were gay and were talking to him specifically." He said he had to go quietly, surreptitiously, because we were on at midnight, and sneak down to the television, put the sound down on real low and watch it and hope that nobody got up out of the house or catch him at it. Then, of course, the ugly stigma of AIDS came along and changed that whole thing. Changed it for me. Of course, there was a young boy who I was involved with, who was about 28 at the time, 28, 30. And his testicles blew up to an amazing sight. And I said, "We're taking him to the hospital. I don't care what you say." I brought him to NYU and sat in the library downstairs and waited for 2 hours for someone to tell me what was up. And this woman, the first woman to diagnose AIDS, came down and said, "I think he's got the new disease." I said, "What new disease?" And she said, "GRID." And at that time it was called gay-related immune deficiency. Well, this was spring. By December, he was shriveled up like a prune. He looked like he was 80 years old, and he was just a figment of what he was, because he was full of so much energy, joie de vivre. He was, we had lots of fun together. And I watched him pass away, and I said, "We have to do something about this."